Okay, so I am going to be going over some basic California wage and hour uh, violations. The reason why I'm putting this together is because I get asked on a very, very often occasion, what are some of the basics? A person will tell me the basics of their situation, and then I will tell them that yes, these are violations, or no, these are not violations. So I'm going to be putting together uh, a PowerPoint presentation while I am talking with you guys about the basics, and I can post this online later. So let's see, 2023 California basic wage and hour violations. And then it wouldn't be complete without my logo. All right. So this only pertains to California, nothing else. So there are several different categories, and then we're going to break apart into each category. So, for example, okay, so we're going to call it categories of wage and hour violations. We have failure to pay minimum wage, failure to pay overtime, failure to issue accurate itemized statements. This is pay stubs. Failure to reimburse business expenses. Failure to call it unfair business practices. Thinking if I'm missing anything. Oh, yeah. Failure to provide meal and rest breaks. And literally, I mean, you could do like an hour plus topic on each one of these, but just out of like for brevity, this is just gonna be like a basic overview of these. So let's start with the first one, which is failure to pay minimum wage. So there is a code section that allows for that. I mean, there's quite a few code sections, but one that is typically worth citing is labor code section. I'm gonna tell you. Okay. 1194.2. So this authorizes several categories of damages. So one is, let's see how that's gonna work. And the formatting all sucks. Damages. So one is the actual minimum wage that you would get. The second one is interest. The third one is liquidated damages. And the fourth one is attorney's fees. So just on a minimum wage case, this could be very, very significant because there are so many associated damages. And I'm just going to save this. I could put this up for you guys later. So the minimum wage, that is the actual wage that you are owed. The interest is 10% per annum since accrual. So it has like a daily rate to it. I don't believe it's compounding. Liquidated damages is the again, the actual wage you are owed, and the attorney's fees if you have an attorney working on the case. So an example of this would be okay, so let's say, Peter works at a coffee shop for 1 hour each day. He is supposed to clean off the clock. So it could be like 30 minutes before and after each shift. This is a very common scenario. That's 1 hour of wages. Peter makes 15 per hour. So this is how you would calculate the damage. So it'd be minimum, let's say it's 5 days per week for 1 year. So this is how you calculate it. $15 per hour times 5 days per week times 52 weeks. And you would just calculate that out pretty quick. That would be $3,900. So that's the first damage. The second damage would be liquidated damages. That is another $3,900. Let's say it was for 1 year. So the interest would be $390. And then attorney's fees, we don't know. Let's say you're not working with an attorney currently, but attorney's fees could be very extensive. Could be like several $100s an hour. So let's just say if an attorney writes a demand letter. So the total damages at this point would be the 3,900 So as you can see, it can be very extensive very quickly if the employer simply doesn't pay this amount and they make you wait for a year. One that I actually do want to add here is failure to pay upon termination. Penalties. That's a very significant one. Okay, so going back, we're gonna now do failure to pay overtime. Failure to pay overtime. So overtime is under section, well, one of the damages calculations is again under Labor Code 1194. Sorry, just 194. So the damages, that would be overtime. Then that's gonna be if there's interest, attorney's fees. Now, there also are costs of suit. And that also goes with the failure to pay minimum wage as well, but we're just assuming that we're not working with a lawsuit currently. We're just going to be working on the, if you were to send a demand letter. So here's example of overtime damages. Well, first of all, let's define what is overtime. What is overtime? So overtime or double time, we'll separate it out. Overtime is over 8 hours per day or 40 hours per week, whichever is greater. double time is over 12 hours per day. So overtime rate is 1.5 times hourly. Double time rate is 2 times hourly. And so we're going to go through an overtime calculation. So let's say, let's change it to an 8-hour shift. So now he has 1 hour of unpaid overtime for every day. So first you want to know your overtime rate. That is going to be 15 times 1.5. And that is, I believe, 2250. Okay. So using that number in mind, you're gonna have your 2250 per hour times 5 hours per week times 52 weeks per year. That is going to equal 5850. And so because this is completely unpaid, I'm going to argue that they are entitled to liquidated damages of the same amount, and interest for 1 year is 585. And then let's say attorney's fees again is 5,000 for putting together the demands and X, Y, and Z. So this would be your total damages right now. So as you can see, it's very significant from where you started from. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go back and we're going to go through failure to issue accurate itemized statements. So that is pay stubs. Okay. So this is governed under Labor Code, I believe, 226. Let's see if I'm right about that. Yes. All right, so it is this is how you calculate the damage. It is $50 for first violation, and then $100 for subsequent for each subsequent violation, max 4,000. So let's go through an example. So let's use this example again. Peter works at a coffee shop, and then he has the unpaid, 30 minutes before and after. So Peter gets paid bi-weekly. The hours and wages are inaccurate. Okay, so bi-weekly, that is going to be 24 pay periods. So one pay period, sorry, it's going to be 26 pay periods. One pay period is for $50. That's the first one. And then the remaining 25 pay periods is 2550, 2500, 2500. So the total damages for the wrong pay stubs is 2550 plus attorney's fees. So that's how you calculate inaccurate pay stub damages. Okay. Next, we're going to do failure to provide meal and rest breaks. So meal and rest breaks. So meal breaks, that has to be 30 minutes before the 5th hour. And there's so many exceptions to this. There's like a lot of nuance and case law. So each case really needs to have its own analysis. Like you could have waivers, you could have different types of notice, different types of cures for this. So each case really needs to be looked at, but this is like kind of a basic overall big picture concept. So 30 minutes before the 5th hour for at least 6 hours worked, and then 2 meal breaks for a shift of 10 plus hours. Okay, rest breaks is generally 10 minutes every 4 hours of work. Also, meal breaks need to be recorded. Okay. This is all assuming this is like hourly employees. There's different things for salary, which I can get into another time. Okay, so meal and rest break violations. So it is up to 1 hour for meal break violation per day. And it's also up to, okay, so up to penalty of 1 hour wage. For meal break violation per day and rest break violation per day. Bear with me one moment here. Up to penalty for 1 hour wage. I'm a little sick here. That is, so an example would be, okay, we are going to, an example of this will be if a person works 1 hour each day. So let's say he works for 8 hours per day. His meal and rest breaks are all interrupted. So he's supposed to get 1 meal break and 2 rest breaks. So the violations and his wage is 15 per hour. So the violations are going to be 1 hour for meal break. That's 15, and 1 hour for rest break. That's 15. So if this occurred for 1 year, let's say it occurred for 1 year. So that's a total of $30. Let's say $15 for 5 days per week. Yeah, so if we calculate it, that'll be 5 days per week times 52 weeks. And you will calculate that out. It'll be 3,900. $3,900. Okay, that's meal and rest break violations. Okay, so failure to reimburse, that is under Labor Code section 2802. And basically that is going to be the amount of reimbursement. So save your receipts. It also will be cost of suit and attorney's fees. It's a pretty simple one. It's anything that's like related to the business that you had to expend out of pocket. Failure to pay upon termination. So if your boss terminates you, they have to pay you on that day. It's a pretty simple law. That is under Labor Code section 203. And so it is a daily wage times 30 days. So if we use the example of Peter, who works at the coffee shop, Peter makes 15 an hour. Peter works 5 days per week. So this is how I would calculate it. It's 15 per hour times 8 hours times 30 days. That's 3,600. But I'm going to add the overtime of 2,250 times 1 hour times 30 days. Which is an extra 675. So I'm going to ask for 4,275 waiting time penalties. Yeah, so that could be pretty significant for just not paying on the same day. And now finally, we're going to do what is called unfair business practices. And that is under business and professions code section 17200. Basically, so under California law, wage and hour violations are 3 years statute of limitations. But when business and profession section 17200 is applied, it extends to 4 years. So, for example, let's say, Peter has these violations. His first violation, first coffee shop violation occurred January 1, 2019. Okay. And so we are in 2023. So each day that passes, through January 1, 2023. So when you don't use business and professions code 17200, Your damages period is 2020 to 2023. Okay? When you do use business and professions code 17200, the damages period is 2019 to 2023. So it gives you that extra year. And that is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that this was helpful. So in conclusion, these are just the basics of California's wage and hour laws. If you guys have any questions, just put a comment in, contact me anytime. And I hope that this was helpful for all you guys. And I hope to hear from you all soon. Hit the subscribe and like button, and I will see you all later.